So about 6 years ago, I made a video entitled, Why Does Teddy Perkins Look Like Michael Jackson? It was more of a discussion video as to why I think they chose to make Teddy Perkins not only look like Michael Jackson, but have a slightly similar story to Michael Jackson. And it's very well received. I'm actually surprised it got as much views. But then I started looking at some of the comments, and that's one of the things I should not have done, because it's it's a comment section of madness. Of course, there were many comments that kind of misunderstood what I was trying to say. Many believed I was saying it was in fact Michael Jackson playing the role of Teddy Perkins. That's not what I was saying at all. I was simply saying why I thought they made Teddy Perkins favor Michael, because many people seem to have gotten offended at me saying that Teddy Perkins looked like Michael Jackson, even though if you look at the makeup design, that's clearly the inspiration of what they were going with, and even in the story. So clearly it was supposed to be, or no, I mean, he was supposed to look like Michael Jackson. Of course, it's now known and confirmed that Teddy Perkins was actually played by actor and showrunner Donald Glover, who also plays the role of Ernest. Aside from playing Ernest, Teddy Perkins is one of the few characters that Donald plays that isn't his main lead. The other would be Mr. Chocolate in a later season, Mr. Chocolate being an obvious parody of Tyler Perry. Of course, many people came to accept the fact that it was in fact Donald Glover under the makeup on the television series, but many people were still confused by who played Teddy Perkins at the Emmys. Donald Glover appeared alongside Lakeith Stanfield and Teddy Perkins at the Emmy Awards. This baffled many people. And many people in my comment section kept reminding me that he didn't appear at the Emmys, and were constantly asking me, then if Michael Jackson's not alive, then who was that with Donald Glover at the Emmys, since you say Donald Glover played Teddy Perkins? Of course, it was meant to be like a gotcha moment, but even looking at the stunt double in the picture, it clearly doesn't look like Michael Jackson. Even under the heavy makeup, you can still make out the person's features, and they really don't look that much like Michael Jackson. And also, clearly, he's taller. Of course, many people will have you believe that Michael Jackson himself was a tall man, when in actuality, he was relatively average size. To make an excuse, people will say, well, Michael Jackson wore heels and platforms, which, of course, is not true. That's never been confirmed that Michael Jackson never been seen wearing platforms or high heels. I honestly think they're mistaking Michael for Prince, which, how can you mistake that? But of course, it's obviously cope. But they can also say, well, to make him tall like the character. If you look at the show, Teddy Perkins is not a tall character. So that theory is out. It makes no sense. So if you still don't believe me, you can look at Michael Jackson's autopsy report, or simply do a Google search, and you'll see his height was 5'9". Guess who also shares the exact same height? Exactly. So clearly, that's not Michael Jackson. While all that's been proven, the one thing that people still couldn't figure out is exactly who played Teddy Perkins at the Emmy Awards, and this has been a theory that's gone around for a couple years. But as of recently, we finally got our answer. The person who played Teddy at the Emmys was none other than actor, comedian, and voice impressionist Jay Pharoah. While not an open confession, in this YouTube video, Jay Pharoah definitely hints at the fact that he was the one dressed as Teddy Perkins at the Emmy Awards. Here's the clip to prove it.
You feel like an imposter? That is a good question. The Microsoft Theater at the Emmys in 2018. Teddy Perkins showed up at the Microsoft Theater with Donald Glover. So they were together taking pictures. How is that possible? Donald Glover is Teddy Perkins. Had to be somebody under there, right? Had to be somebody. I don't know who it was, but it had to be somebody under there. And maybe the person that was under there didn't have an ID. When Donald Glover got up to tell Teddy Perkins that Teddy had to go sit in his seat, the other seat. And the ticket that Teddy Perkins got wasn't where it was supposed to be. And the security guard said to Teddy Perkins, "Excuse me, can you come this way?" And Teddy Perkins had to stay outside, and Donald Glover may have had to come out with the aid of another white actor. I don't even know who his name, but thank God for him. And possibly Donald Glover had to explain to the security guard that there was somebody under all of that makeup, 3 hours of makeup, and that it was possibly somebody who's been on a syndicated sketch show. So it was a good situation after Teddy got back in. He took pictures with people. Issa Rae was real freaked out. Issa Rae was talking to Teddy Perkins before Donald Glover showed up. And she was like,
"Oh my God, Donald, you are crazy. You are so crazy. Oh my God, what is this? You really came like this? You really came as Teddy Perkins?"
Cut to Teddy Perkins and Donald Glover taking a picture together. And Issa Rae's face in the back like this. Because she didn't know who she had just talked to. Maybe that's a place where I felt like an imposter. But maybe not, I don't know.
So, of course, if you can read between the lines or simply understand what he was saying, he, of course, confirms that he was the actor who played Teddy Perkins. And if you want to get more into detail, here is Jay Pharoah's height. So, of course, that checks out. It was not Michael Jackson at the Emmy Awards. It was Jay Pharoah. So all these conspiracies can finally be put to rest, which they probably won't, because some people just cannot cope with the fact that Michael Jackson has passed on. Many people will still try to claim that, oh, Michael Jackson was a ghostwriter. He's the mastermind behind it all. He's watching all of this, pretty much writing the narrative that Michael Jackson was some type of super genius, a master of disguise. Pretty much just saying anything they can so they can keep up with the notion that he's still alive, but he's just doing it in secrecy and hiding, or that he's preparing for the biggest magic trick, that he in fact faked his death this whole time for more fame and notoriety, which, if anybody who knows Michael Jackson knows, he would not want to be any more famous than he already was. And that if he actually did come back and show that he did fake his death, he could be in some serious legal trouble, federal trouble, if you will. Yeah, I just wanted to make this little quick video letting people know that the actor who played Teddy at the Emmys was in fact Jay Pharoah. I don't know how many people are going to see this, but it just had to be said. So these conspiracy theories can be put to rest, which they probably won't, but hey, we'll see what happens.